Ladies and gentlemen, crypto crackheads, cryptillions, whatever you call yourself within crypto, I have a really serious question for you. On what time frame are you analyzing Bitcoin? In this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to try to show you why I think 3 specific time frames are by far the most accurate way for now to analyze Bitcoin. The shelf life on what I'm saying could be a year, it could be 3 months, but the shelf life is going to be fairly healthy on what I'm saying, and I'm going to show you all that why in this video. And after you take this video and you apply it in your own analysis, you might discover things that you had not seen prior in your own charting efforts. So get ready, let's go get some Bitcoin. For new reviewers, this is all of Bitcoin price history, even back when it was $2. So this is my super macro mega channel. I use rising channels that are very pretty. My analysis is typically much prettier and easier to understand, particularly for new people coming into crypto. I'm not going to geek out and use a bunch of terms you don't understand coming in fresh to crypto. So if you're a new viewer, you might want to go ahead and hit the like button or save this video for later so you can find me after you realize you don't understand what a bunch of other analysts are saying. So this is all of price history. And what we have here as a reminder, just so we know what we're dealing with, what's at stake is that Bitcoin has never fallen or ever fallen under what I call the 1/4 line. So baseline, quarter line, half court, or the point of control, 3/4, and the top line. And Bitcoin, the last time it was under this line, it did not fall under, it broke above. It was $15, and it hadn't touched it since. So it went from the next time it touched it after $15, it was at $20K before it bottomed out at $15.5. And now we're going to zoom in. So what was previous support, even though it really wasn't support, it never touched it, it usually becomes significant resistance. So Bitcoin after the 15.5 low, bumped its head, got rejected at 25, pulled back, did a failure pattern up to 32K, pulled back, actually went sideways for 200 days, attacked it, got rejected at 48K, then busted above it and has not come down to retest it. Has not come down to retest it. That's the key. And that testing, the bottom of this triangle, I feel like it has a good chance of being hit despite it looking like it's going to break up now. The structure is saying it's going to break up now, and I'm going to tell you the 3 time frames to look at to try to figure out, is it getting ready to go? But that's the importance of this line, and it's kind of odd that it hasn't retested it given the severity of how big of a deal this line is. And that's partly why I call it the super macro mega chart, because each line is a big freaking deal. And usually when you go over something, you break through a resistance, you usually either test it you interact with it and you respect that line from the bottom side like this before you bust above, or you go above an obstacle like that and you land on it before you continue. As long as that obstacle is a big deal. That obstacle doesn't have to be a rising line, it can be a horizontal as well. So I call that respecting it. You can respect a resistance from the top or from the bottom. And if you respect it from the bottom, you usually form an ascending triangle with higher lows but lower highs. All these are higher. Then you break out. It respected it for this amount of time on that line. Or you can do the same thing like that. You just move it up. 2 most common ways to interact. That hasn't happened here. So how can we tell, is this really going to just keep going with just ignoring that line? And maybe we'll just have a gigantic pullback, down to 70K later after. So that same line at 70K, because it's rising. Right now, it's at 60K. But in the middle of summer of this year of 2024, it's at 70K. It's 10K higher. That would allow for a 100K push and then a 30% pullback, which is average for a bull run. If we are in a bull run, a bullish run. that would coincide. So is it just going to hit this line on a bigger time frame than what I'm assuming? And maybe the irony of this video could be I'm going to try to show you what I think the most important time frames are. But my whole idea about this line, it's possible I'm interpreting it on the wrong time frame, which isn't necessarily irony, but that's the main idea of this video. To help you understand, looking at Bitcoin on specific time frames and the rules it usually behaves in terms of predictability. How can you predict price better? One of the key things is to know what is the best time frame to predict. That's it. It's not always on the 5 minute or the 1 hour. Sometimes those are great time frames, but right now they're not. So what are the 3 time frames that I'm suggesting and why? The monthly, for one reason. I'm going to have 3 main time frames. I'm going to go from top to bottom, from larger to shorter, smaller. The monthly time frame, because the where this candle flips green is this top line at around 71,650 or so, 71.5 or so. That same line looks like this with a really small price. So this is how price on the 15-minute chart interacted with it. It went above it, came back down to respect it as normal, but then it couldn't stay above it. And that was its first or second attempt to get above. So here the monthly was red. Right here at that wick, it turned green, then it flipped red again, and then flipped green, then was red again here, then green, then red, then green, then red, then green, and then stayed red. So the monthly candle was flickering throughout this throughout that 24 hours. It flipped green once, twice, 3 times, four times, and red 4 times. And now that it's pulled back away from there more substantially on those small time frames, if this candle flips green again, it would also mean a breakout of that green triangle you saw. So let's just focus on this red candle. At any point in time, if you're a chart geek and you just want to know, hey, is crap going to explode up to the upside in the next 28 hours? I think it's Star Trek Deep Space Nine. What was it? Was it 28 hours? Was the planet they were on? Or Bajor, but they were on Bajor, but I think Bajor had 28 hours. Anyway, I haven't watched Deep Space Nine in like 2 years. But anyway, 24 hours. The answer to that question in your mind is, should I be geeking out on crypto? Am I going to miss an entry? If this candle is red on the monthly, start with the month. Okay, I'm cool. I can keep watching my kids play sports, or I can continue watching or driving safely without my phone in my face. Put your phone down. Or put the bong down, whatever you're doing. Like, you can put whatever, you can relax if this is red. You don't have to hyperventilate thinking about crazy upside. This needs to flip green before violent price to the upside is going to happen. It will interact with that line again, even after it breaks out of this triangle. The monthly is the first stop. I'm going to skip the weekly, but I want to show you why. The weekly is not one of the time frames. It's usually one of the best time frames, but it's not giving you good information. You have a hanging man candle, a doji reversal looking candle, a spinning top which is a reversal-ish, another hanging man, but look at these wicks, pressure up, and the formation, all higher lows. These candle signals are the opposite of where price is going. This is not the right time frame to look at price. It isn't, in my opinion. So the monthly is, and that's how I would utilize it if I were you. Like before, because why look at the 1 hour, whatever your favorite time frame is, if the month is red, right? Unless you're trying to short. I mean, then maybe go geek out on. But this is not the time to short, in my opinion. And short Pokemon trading cards. This is not financial advice. This is Pokemon trading cards only. So. References. All right, the daily is the next time frame I feel that it's very important to look at, because this is getting the midterm time frame, not super long over a year, but definitely more than around a month to like a 3-month projection. The shape of this low, higher low, higher low, even though it has a lower high here, it's essentially, remember how I said earlier, it needs to respect lines, and if it respects it from the bottom, it doesn't need higher highs, it just needs higher lows, and then it goes, right? That is so even though you don't have a bunch of higher highs, these higher lows are very powerful. And if it can maintain these higher lows on the daily and just squeak barely above 73K, the month will have flipped green, causing people to buy, stimulating people to buy these Pokemon cards, of Bitcoin Pokemon cards. But even more so, more and different buyers will come in once your look left high is broken. It will accelerate even more. And so the shape of the daily is what big eyeballs with the most money, I think, are looking at. That and the monthly, really. The daily and the monthly are by far the most important time frames right now. One will cause acceleration. On the monthly, this is the monthly open line. And this should cause acceleration on top of already acceleration. Like, this could go straight to $105,000 and break that 2 trillion market cap. I mean, it might just skip my idea of 85K. It could be a very violent breakout to the upside. So mixing the daily. Now, why do I also suggest the third one, the 4-hour time frame? Here's the third and final one, and then I'm going to jump back to my private live stream. So I record Bitcoin videos as of now, my public YouTube crypto videos at the beginning of my private live streams. So if you want to check out what the YouTube community is all about, there's a blue join button down below. Not for you on the live stream right now, but public YouTube video, the blue join button for the YouTube tier communities, YouTube community tiers, and then in the description section I have links to my Discord community. My Discord community, I'm not somebody who sells indicators or a bunch of courses or anything. I'm more live time with me, share screens, get on your microphone, ask me questions live, share your screen with me, vice versa, in group settings. And so that is what my Discord's all about. Let's see here. So the 4-hour. The 4-hour is exceptionally important right now to add. Actually, it's more of the initial move plus just general confirmation. It's the closures. I typically follow what I call micro candle ricochets. That probably doesn't make sense to anybody. Even if you've been trading 10 years, you're probably like, what the F did this guy just say, right? Okay. So micro candle ricochets is I typically value more how price interacts on very small time frames. Just its general, did it bounce from this line or not? And I value that typically more than larger candle closures. This is the 5-minute chart. So honestly, this it bounced twice, made a high on the 5-minute. Like I would have guessed this is going to be a higher low and then another higher high based off of its interactions with you, right? But this is the wrong time frame. I feel very strongly, I'm almost certain. It's not just I feel strongly, I'm almost certain about it. Because of how precise these candle closures are on these lines I have. Boom, 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 boom. This closure here, closure there. These lines I had here, I didn't mark these because of the 4-hour. Like, these were from really small candles or week. No, that's the monthly candle, for example. And look how the 4-hour operated on it back in March. And it just so happened to close where? Exactly there. So that closure looked like it was planned. But I forgot to finish my statement. I'm exceptionally confident that the players with the most amount of money in crypto right now, who are moving price in the most significant way, probably BlackRock, their algos, I feel, are right now based off of a 4-hour algorithm, which feeds perfectly into the daily times 6, obviously, right? But it's not always the case. Sometimes it's like daily closures, which are the most important, or sometimes closures are there to trick you, and therefore relying on micro candle ricochets diving into the 5-minute is actually more important. Like the algos, so the player with the biggest money moving Bitcoin the most with the most money at that time, not only does that player change over the course sometimes of over days, but in this case it's probably going to be quarters, It could change like once or twice a year from BlackRock to, you know, or maybe a group or a Bitcoin cartel, maybe the Russian government, who knows? Whoever's moving Bitcoin with the most volume of money, that not only does that change, but even if it's the same biggest player, their algorithms change to trick the other guys, right? Like they change a lot. So regardless, both of those cases, there's a lot of change. And so right now, we can see that they are running very clearly off of 4 hours. Like that is the basis of what their buying and selling algorithms are doing. And it's very closure focused. And it's usually not like this. It's usually not this perfect. And so in summary, for my free YouTube video, what I would suggest to you, don't forget about that monthly. It'll help you not hyperventilate and freak out. Do I need to make altcoin decisions right now? If that month's red, you very likely have 48 hours, 24 to 40 hours till anything will happen. The daily, you're looking for that structure, the higher low stuff, and then taking out this look left, just the current all-time high of Bitcoin, actually. And then the 4 hour is going to add confirmation. Is this crap going to like spill up now? Like, is it going to start melting up, or am I going to get a closure below this line, which means I'm actually more likely to pull back all the way down to 60K to the bottom of this? Because this is about all that's holding it. Like once it goes below 68, I mean, it has a damn good chance to go straight to dip down below this and V-shape back up. Like it could tag 60. So 1 4 hour closure, even though the daily would still be in a higher low posturing, you know that those 4 hour candles are very valuable right now. And that even though it's above the previous daily higher low, like it drastically increases the chances of going down to 60K, despite that beautiful higher low right there. And it really should just be pulling back to a higher low and bust up. That 4 hour closure, it will initiate I wouldn't say necessarily 50% chance of coming all the way down to 60, but the chances of going down to 60 right now as the next move are very low. I would say under 20%, but it skyrockets after you get a 4 hour closure below. It's actually marked more perfectly over here, 68,389. So watch out for that 4 hour closure. That is how you use all three of those time frames, and why I feel it's more important than other usually important time frames like the weekly. And again, the shelf life on this, it'll probably end once those 4 hour closures stop being perfect. And you'll be able to tell, I need to look for something new. I need to analyze Bitcoin on different time frames, or perhaps instead of the 4 hour daily and monthly, I'm looking at the daily, weekly, and monthly, which is usually kind of the case. Sometimes it's the 1 hour though. Sometimes it's the 1 hour, 4 hour, and weekly. That's a common thing as well. So have fun with this. Challenge yourself to look at Bitcoin on these three time frames, and then see if you see magic things popping out in the chart that you didn't see otherwise before you consider this analysis. If you liked what you saw, new viewers, go ahead and subscribe. Returning viewers, hit the like button before you dip out of here to help out your content creator. We'll see you on the flip side. You just got Timified Worldwide. Peace.